Hello and welcome to Florymodels. Here we are for Tuesday's Q&A on the last day of May, the 31st. And I just need to turn Steve up because he's a little bit quiet. It's one thing I didn't do. Say something, Steve.
Good afternoon. Hope everyone can hear me now. Is that better, Phil?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Excellent.
Right, just one thing I have got to do is, why is it saying high CPU detected? Nothing else is running in the background. Just make sure we're not rendering or something stupid. No, I think we're all okay there. We seem to be all alright. Let me just bring up the forum on there. This works, we should be all okay. So, welcome everybody. Another long weekend. The World War I SIG reveal went up yesterday. I did have every intention of trying to get up the first part, mammoth part of the FW190, but it was huge. It was basically a 5-hour edit. And then it took 3 hours to render it because it's actually an hour and a half long, and obviously it's in full 1080, glorious and everything else. So it is the entire thing, but there's more about that on today's vlog news show, which is up now, so you can see that one. So wherever you're watching us in Cyberland, I'll tell you what it is as well. My phone, let me just make sure we're on silent and we are off the internet, because otherwise every bit counts. If I can turn that off, there we go. All good. All sorted. So Steve, what have you been doing? What have you been up to?
Been doing a bit of work and weathering on my Tornado.
Yes. If I can find my mouse. Where's my mouse on my screen? There we go. Let's bring you up. There we go.
Obviously, don't know how well that shows up. I've just done a load of oil weathering. Just go that way, done it down a bit. So all the oil weathering's done.
Lovely. How did you fade back? Did you just lighten the paint and fade back?
I used
and then
a combination of both raw umber, light flesh, a couple of dirt colours as well. I think I used burnt umber, so it just gives you kind of different colours onto it. So
yeah, no, it looks
that nice
looking
streak coming on the top of the wing. So yeah, it looks really good.
No, I must admit it is. It's looking very, very good. So yeah, you've done a fantastic job on that one, mate. It's really coming in very nicely. And you'll be nicely done in time for Telford?
Yeah, it should be.
Should be. It will be. You're pushing through that one. Lovely.
Yeah, so there's not much left to do with it. Still waiting for all the weapons to arrive, but that should be a couple of weeks. Should get hold of them, so I'll get the correct weapon load out for it.
Lovely. That's...
And as well as that, I've been thinking of what to build for the Japanese group build.
Yeah.
That's coming up, so I've got quite a few to choose from. So
yeah.
Similar to you, we'll go with the Gundam kit.
Lovely.
Or this is where we get a bit more. I didn't realise how many Japanese jet aircraft I had in the stash, so I've got one that's similar to the one you had.
That's a nice one as well. Yeah, I must admit the special marking ones like that. Yeah, lovely. It's nice that.
Go with that one, or the early one.
Oh yeah.
Or we've got something totally different, the Kawasaki T4.
Oh,
the only problem with that one is the decals are slightly yellowed, so I'd have to get an aftermarket set from somewhere.
Well, I must admit, you don't see many of them around.
No. But I've still got probably another 3 or 4 jets still back in the stash, like the Blue Impulse.
Yeah.
I think it's a Mitsubishi kind of a prototype thing, so they're quite complex paint schemes on them. So kind of left them hidden round the corner.
Yeah, no, so very nice.
That's been really.
With me, I don't remember. Hold on, which keystroke are we for me? I'll give up. I'll use my mouse. Me shortcut keys. I can't remember what they were. For me, I've been working on this guy. So, as you can see, we've been in paint today, so we've done the thing. I didn't realise this was actually 3-tone. I thought it was just 2. I thought it was just light and dull ghost grey, but it's not. It's actually the 3-tone. So what you've actually got down here is the very light grey underneath, then the mid grey, then you've got that F14 grey on the top, which is what I call the Navy's version of gunship grey on the top of it. But it is looking very nice, all coming together. Typical thing with the old guns paints, and we've used gun self-leveling thinners and stuff like that, is that it takes a while to go off. So I did this morning around about sort of between 9 and 11, and takes a little bit of time for this to go off. It's still a little bit tacky on the top and everything else like that. So I think we're going to give that a couple of days to properly go off before we attempt to come in and do other things with it. We've also done this guy, which he is all black and ready. I think I pointed him out last week. Going to do something a little bit special with that guy. It's literally all just about using AK metallizers over this one, and the Valleos no doubt as well, because I quite like both of them, but basically weathering it and doing things with it. I want to give it a sort of quite a worn look to it and everything else. So it's a straightforward quick build with that one, nothing overly exciting. But with the paintwork and everything else, it should be. And obviously it comes on a nice little stand and everything else. So it'll go nicely in my sci-fi collection when it's done. Big thing though was obviously doing this guy. As I say, the editing for it is all up on there, and they've done loads of photos for the end of it and everything else. But if we go super close cam, hopefully you can see it. Where's my other bits? I'm all done with the other bits. Are they in here? Well, hopefully they're in here. God, they better be. Here we go. But we've got the interior cockpit. As I say, I haven't gone massively overtone with the weathering. I just wanted to give it that sort of sheen look that you've got, and we achieved that literally with the metallizers. But you can see everything about this, as I say, from start to finish, right the way through and on here. But hopefully it's got that nice look to it and everything else like that. So literally you can go off and sit down for an hour and a half. I'm still not convinced people are going to sit there for an hour and a half and go the way through it, but it's all there if you want to see it. That one is up on the site right now. And I will be honest, because I know Steve mentioned this already, I had loads of trouble with my nose on the Dolphin. So I have literally been out this with the 5-minute epoxy trying to put it right, and I think we're almost there. I've got a couple more little bits to tidy up with, which I'm going to come round, but we've managed to blend it in. Hopefully you can see it, Steve. It is getting there. Look, it's getting it on the profile. I know there's a small step which I can put back in, but underneath than that, as you say, just down in here, I've got a big step, you see, so that bit of photo etch, I'm not sure how that's going to fit in there. I think that's going to be a little bit of a pain to try and get that in there, but generally I think it's it should be really nice. My other concern is I've got the gap between, which I filled, and I know it's supposed to have a panel line in there, so I'm going to let that go off and I'm going to drag a new panel line right up the top here and everything else. But yeah, I think it'll be alright. It's getting there.
Yeah, well mine have slightly different problems, which are all on the underside. So I filled mine with the thickest pot of homemade styrene filler, and it was thick when you saw me putting it on. Yeah. And I've managed to get it that way. You can see how I've blended it, and I've already put the photo etch in. But it still it was absolutely awful. See where the filler is, because of the different colours in plastic. Yeah. Hopefully it's got to be okay. All the other scenes are fine, it was just that. And the sides profile's okay.
Yeah, no, I think they're going to be alright. As I say, it's one of those things. I thought originally it was going to be quite a straightforward kit to put together, but now we've been working on it a little bit, a couple of weeks into this now. It's been a right nightmare and starting to fight me a little bit. I think once we get it buttoned up and it's ready for, you know, obviously primer and stuff, it will be nice and we can get going. And obviously this Saturday, I think the plan is, isn't it, we're going to get the roof installed, the engine bays, all of that area type of in there. And work our way out, so then that way we can get it into primer, everything else. I've got to do the bottom seam down here, take care of all of that, because quite frankly it's nasty. I mean really very, very nasty. As you can see under here, I know Steve's done his, I could see that, but I need to take care of that before we come on air. But round the back and everything else, it all seems to be okay. This we don't get to see under there. Top is pretty smooth, I just need to polish it and everything else like that. But this one under here, typical style, because it's flat, it's difficult to get to. So again, I've used a little bit of thick styrene filler, run it right the way around all of this, and then we've sanded into it to get rid of it all. But my profile on my front was particularly horrible. But as I say, we'll cover lots more of that on Saturday. If you want to join us for a couple of hours, although me and Steve got on a roll last week, I think we was on air, wasn't it, 3.5 hours?
Something like that, yeah.
Got carried away on a Saturday morning stroke midday show. But we're going to be back this Saturday and we're going to tackle it. And do you know what I've just noticed? I've pushed my bloody window in.
I've had one, and yeah, that's the problem. Even though
because you're handling it so much,
you just pop in, and it's. Yeah. I've got one that's a problem, and I should never have put the door on the
Yeah.
pilot or the commander's side. That one we've had issues with.
Yeah, I must admit,
Try and put the
I've
door
left
on.
mine off, and I'm just hoping they're going to fit in, though. I've got visions of mine not going on, so I'm going to have to do it with the doors open. But anyway, we're getting there with that one. Hopefully, as you say, this Saturday we'll make some good progress on all that. If you want to join us, we'll be live streaming as we are now, and then you can come in and ask us any questions via the forum and bits and pieces. And generally, we'll have a giggle and talk all things shop and things like that. So, obviously, today is Q&A day. Excuse me. You might notice we've got a new section on the forum. I've spoken about it loads over the last 2 shows. Hopefully you can find your way around it. It's just to streamline it. Steve's brainchild, and I must admit I just copied his template for it because he did a fantastic job of working all that one out. Okay, so if we go in there now, and then we pop down, I'm going to have to do half on this and then half on me phone, I think. Okay, oh, what are we in there for? Come on. Categories. We'll just drop down and see what questions we've got. Right, okay, here we go. If I can find it, there we go. Right, we're in. Oh God. Do you know what? I'm just going to treat myself to an iPad Pro.
Yeah, please. Can we have it on company?
Well, we have company iPad Pros for everyone.
Well, I'll need to use one you see then.
Oh, right, okay, right. I'm sure we can get that sorted. I'll check with the accounts department. Right, because this is driving me mad. This tablet's horrible. Don't buy a Samsung tablet. Mind you, this is the old one. I've had this one years now. Right, okay, here we go. We have questions. Okay, Peter Field says, afternoon, evening chats. As a follow-up to where will the hobby be in 10 years question, should what we be considering as art? Not sure if I've asked this before on one of the live shows. If I have, then please ignore this. I have no doubt that it should be, no matter what your level or ability is, it is creative. Have a good evening, gents. We have covered this, and I'm quite outspoken on this because the definition of art, this is where I show my, side, is something that is completely useless, isn't it? I think that's what it says in the dictionary, because I've looked it up many years ago on some drunk night. But basically, the definition of art is an object that serves no purpose apart from looking at it. Okay, so it can't actually be used for anything. So, from my point of view, is then obviously static models as we do, and stuff like that is totally art and feels that completely. The other thing as well I think with art is it should be subjective, i.e. what one person thinks is amazing, another person might think is crap. So at the end of the day, that means it's art as well, because it should be subjective to the person, the viewer who's looking at it and everything else like that. So it's a bit like when your partner looks at your model and you say, look at this, I've just finished this and isn't it amazing? They go, that's nice, and they just walk away. That means it must be art. Whereas you get somebody else comes round and they'll ask you a million questions on how you did it and how everything else like that. You can see that they're really into it. So yeah, that is what I define as art, definitely. Steve, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I think you look at some, especially dioramas, and they are works of art. I'd rather look at something like that that's been beautifully done, painted, weathered, that looks like a miniature thing, the real thing. You could blow it up and it what you think it would. You could fly in it or drive it. And I think that is a work of art. If you compare something like that to some of the crap, and I'm sorry to use the word crap, that they call modern art, like going back to that, years and years ago, Tracy Emin's bed, where it were a bed with an overflowing ashtray and all dirty clothes and everything. How the heck is that classed as art?
Yeah. Well, it's a bit like, wasn't it? It was on, I think it made the news last week, where somebody left their glasses, didn't they, on the floor at an art museum. And everybody was taking photos of his glasses. Yeah, all it was, he left them on the floor because he was having a good look at some picture. So he put them down and forgot them. And people for like hours thought it was a work of art. Well, actually, it was he just put his glasses on the floor.
Yeah. So you see some, and the grown adults and the 3-year-old could paint better. Yeah, their work. It's a weird thing. It's a big subject. Yeah,
it is a huge thing, but definitely I would say what we do is art. you know, this because it's creativity. You're taking something and turning it into something else. So from my point of view, it's extremely creative. I like, as I say, it's my engineering background, and I love things mechanical. So it's a bit like when we worked on the Tamiya Mark IV tank, because it had gears and working bits and motors and that. I really get involved with it. I love all that side of things completely. But there's a point that when you're just assembling something like Lego, you're just following it. There is no way of actually getting it wrong. Okay, so is that art? I don't know. From my point of view, when you're modelling, you could get, you know, me and Steve can build, like we're doing now, the Dolphin helicopters, but I can guarantee they are not going to look similar at all. Because Steve has his way of building, the way he does it and everything else like that. I have mine. Okay, and although we're building the same thing using the same products and everything else like that, you just know they're going to be slightly different, and that is the thing with it. Yeah, if you get 10 people to build the same Lego car, they're all going to look the same, you know. But from our point of view, it is an art because each one will be different, and that's the great thing about it. And that's the thing I love about the hobby, is the diversity as well. You'll get one person who build it straight out of the box, you'll get another person who'll put their twist, their tweak on it and everything else. That doesn't mean there's anything right or wrong with them, it's just different ways of doing it. So yes, definitely. So that's it, we're all artists, and that doesn't mean we're piss artists, because that happens only on Saturday nights, although not me because I'm on my health kick. Right, so Bjorn says, hello Phil and Steve, it's only his second post, he's only been with us 25 days. Thanks for the awesome advice on last Tuesday's airbrush and on the armour kits. I've had a good week since then, and I've bought the Spar Max compressor, the HS Infinity CR Plus, and both of the AFV Club 24 and Tamiya M24, which were the chappies, weren't they?
Yeah.
Also got a pack by airmail from you guys, and now I have all the sanders and washes I need for a while. However, there's one thing I do not have at this point. I will be mainly building World War II armour and aviation, but love sci-fi, and maybe dabbling into this in the future. Where do I begin with paints? Should I buy single bottles of colours that I think I'm going to need, or just buy sets? Just buy the sets themed to those builds. What would you two do if you had to build up your paint collection again from scratch tomorrow? Steve?
Right, I'd start, because of the armour, just get a selection of paints that are appropriate to the World War II tank that you're building. So you want your olive drabs, your dark greens. So just get a couple of different types of olive drab, a couple of dark greens, and then base colours, blacks, your metallic colours, steel. So a couple of rust colours. Also get the basic colours like blue, red, yellow, white. So you want to get your basic primary colours, and then just get the colours specific to what you're building, and then build your paint collection up that way. You could go out and spend a lot of money and buy the huge big Vallejo paint sets that have got 60 odd paints in them, but a lot of them you'd never use, and it's kind of a luxury really. So yeah, just buy what's specific to what you're building.
Also, I might add is that because you're new to the hobby and coming into it, not all paints are the same. Some paints you can be pretty safe with. I always say Tamiya is always a good bet because they're quite forgiving, but you get some people don't get on particularly well with Model Air, for instance, or the Panzer Ace colours, or the guns range. So before you sort of run out and spend a lot of money on different paints and stuff like that, you might just want to have a feel for what works better for you, because in different climates and different weather things, I know some people, I was talking to somebody the other day who said I was talking about, because I was using AK's paints, and said I get on quite well with them now. And he was saying that he can't use them at all. Physically, they just do not work. Okay, but he gets on really well with MIG paints, and he swears by them now. And he's gone out and basically bought the entire range of them because it really works. But he works in quite a dry environment. Okay, it's not much humidity, so he's saying it's just the way he's saying the paints work, which I have to agree, because for him it's working well in his environment, his setup, his airbrushes and everything else. So he's found something that works. So that's why he's gone out and really bought that entire range, okay, and gone through it. Whereas obviously with me, if I've gone out and bought the entire MIG range, I'll be quite upset right now because, as I say, I have a really hard time spraying them. I am going to get some more and I'm going to give them a whirl again, okay, admittedly. But for the moment, the paints I have here is what works well for me. You might notice on my rack now, I don't have any of the extra acrylics range because I just can't get on with it. It's fine when you first open the bottle, but they don't seem to work afterwards. So if you've got a bottle that's half open, 6 months down the line, try and use it. It tends to be a bit of a nightmare. So I've got rid of that range of paints now. Primary I use is the Model Air, the Tamiya and the Guns stuff because I know they work very well for me. Okay, we have dabbled, I have got some of the AK stuff and I will get some of the MIGs and various bits and pieces, but for the moment they're the ones I know, they're my go-to paints. So you might just want to get a feel for your go-to paint, what works well for you before you rush out. Otherwise you're going to end up with paints perhaps you're never going to use and they're going to sat there gathering dust, and the money could be better seeing you're starting out as well in another area. Okay, so just get a feel for brands of paint, see what they go. So like Steve said, you know, obviously you've got your Tamiya range, they do quite a bit of armour and normal World War II colours, no problem at all. Your Model Airs, your Panzer type paints as well, you know, and then later on have a go with guns and stuff like that because they tend to work really well. But armour colours I don't know so much. Steve, do they do much in the old armour range for the guns paints?
Yeah, they do. What I like doing is, especially for armour, I'll take Tamiya's olive drab series and I'll get the Gunsy stuff as well, olive drabs, because they're different tones to it. So then when you spray one on and then you get the other and spray a bit of that on, and it gives you that nice patchy effect.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
But yeah, you really have to read the label and get a good colour chart for Gunsy stuff for armour. But yeah, the olive drabs you've got no problems with.
No, that's right. So like Steve said, if you're going to do armour, really you just want to go down your olive drab routes, as you say, perhaps a couple of different manufacturers, and that way you can get a feel for the paints as well. You know, and your blacks again, like me and Steve say. Steve loves his NATO black. I prefer rubber black. They're my chosen ones. So yeah, it's one of those things, as I say, it's very subjective as well, isn't it, paint? Because you get some people who love them and some people hate them. So
but you could also need to think, okay, your tank's overall olive drab, so then you could do with buying maybe a grey just to add in so you can lighten the paint bit, so when you're start on your weathering side of it, so that's always worth mentioning.
Yeah,
but to be honest, if you are struggling, just put a post up in the forum and you'll get a good help, and people will no doubt put together a list of what's good, but also try and find out what you can get in your area and local supply, what brands do they sell, because that plays an important. I know you can buy it from anywhere in the world, but it does get expensive.
These guys as well, if you're going to go down metal routes and you're looking at your metallic colours, out of them all, I have to say I would skip all of them and go straight for these. And this is my favourite colour of all at the moment. I'm using this everywhere, on everything I do it seems, but this is steel. Okay, so this is the Vallejo acrylic metallics. This stuff is great because you can airbrush it and hand paint it. Dry brushing, this stuff is just a legend. One little rub with the dry brush and it just goes on forever. And to be honest, I did all the cockpit and everything else. I did a couple of other jobs with one load that I've never refilled since on my brush, because it literally just keeps giving and giving and giving. So this is the Vallejo metal colours as well. So I'd recommend something like a steel, an aluminium, and something perhaps like a titanium as well, because all three of those colours work exceptionally well, and it will give you your basics of what you need to start with and everything else like that. So definitely. Right, next up we've got Malcolm, and he's asking about this. Where's me mouse? Find me mouse. What it is, he's got this trouble, and he's asking, as he had like a slug go over his model and all the rest of it. Basically what you've got here, this is the release agent, I do believe, from the moulding process, because it looks like it's tracking. It's not like the webbing effect. Sometimes when you look at the plastic, it looks like it's got like a cobweb in the plastic, but this is thicker. So I'm assuming this could be like release agent from the mould. that is just in there, and then because it's been around a while, it's dried on. The only reason I say that is when you look down in the actual panel line, I don't know if my mouse appears on the screen, but down in here, okay, this bit here is just as shiny as the rest, but it's not showing further down here, so I'm assuming it's release agent that's all around here, so it could be worth giving it a scrub, just a little bit of warm soapy water, and then rinse it off and then it just dry or pat dry it, okay, because sometimes if you're going to rehydrate this, i.e. when it gets paint on it, this can come back to life and bite you. But I have seen it before, and to me, I've always thought it's just dried release agent just sat there. Either that, or you know, I don't know, something's contaminated it in the factory. You know, something like that. I'm not sure really. Steve, what do you reckon that was?
Yeah, well, it could be release agent. Yeah, I'd give it a scrub with some hot water, soapy hot water. See how that goes. Maybe give it a bit of wipe over some IPA, and then just go ahead and spray over it. As long as you clean it best off, you shouldn't have any problems. If it's actually in the plastic, well, no, you can do apart from. I've had it before, and I've just sprayed over the top of it with no problems. Yeah,
because he says there's no texture to it, so I'm assuming that it is something. Or perhaps there was a slug in the factory.
Yeah.
You know, who knows with these things. Okay, Alan, his first post, he's been with us 5 days ago, bless him. Right, welcome Alan, hi Phil and Steve, etc. Thinking ahead to a future build of a 1/32 scale F4F in the JU 71 Richthofen takes my fancy. I've got a beautiful video of that aircraft. I was stood 3 feet from it as it went past. We had an exchange in 2007, and I've got some great detailed pictures. But how would you go about reproducing the different panel, shading, weathering and boot scuffs? Boot scuffs, I love this photo. If I just scroll this to here, and then if we come across and back down, I must get my other mouse out. This is what we're talking about, is this. I love boot scuff marks on aircraft. It just shows the crew where they're, you know, sliding around all over it, you know, getting to access areas and stuff like that. The panel works pretty straightforward. This is the way that I do it anyway. Steve might do it differently, but I will do the primary colour goes down first, which is the blue, the lighter colour. Okay, so from my point of view, I'll put down the blue, all this everywhere. Then I'm going to come over the top with a darker shade, which will be my weathering. Okay, so you sort of post shade it with this everywhere. Then I come back with the original colour like this and hand paint this in. Well, yeah, with an airbrush, freehand it all in. Or the other way, of course, you can do this is mask this off with like tackworms and stuff like that if you're not too sure, and you can put those in really straightforward right over it. But this type of up here, also, like if you go over it with a grime wash or the dirt dart wash on a satin finish, this will give you that everywhere. Okay, boot scuff marks, a little bit difficult, I must admit, but then again, you could do it with a pencil, a watercolor pencil. You can actually scuff those in a little bit, the same type of techniques to put that sort of, you know, the lines into it, because as long as there's texture in the surface you're going onto, that will give quite a nice effect with it. And depending on obviously the sharpness of your pencil and everything else, you can scrape those in quite nicely to give that type of effect. Steve, how do you go about it?
Yeah, well, for the panels and painting, that's what I tend to do, is put your base colour, then I'll go over the top with a dark shade, and then come back with the base colour again.
Yeah.
And you can get different tones, and I don't know, just gives you a better effect, I think. For boot scuffs, there's all sorts of ways you could try black pencil, crayon, even find a little bit of black rubber that and actually scuff it onto your
physically do it. Yeah
that'd be one way of doing it. Teeny little speck, a tiny speck of black oil paint, and just rub it in.
The other way, of course, like just thinking about it, is if you got a pastel, sharpened pastel, and scrape into it as well to give that type of effect, and then that way you can blur it as well and all stuff like that. It's a very interesting scheme, and I do like it. It must admit, I do like the German Phantoms. I always think they look really nice, especially the special marking ones, but they've always got dirt and grime on them. They always look quite weathered. But I do like that effect. That's a really nice effect to do. But that's what I like about doing the naval aircraft as well, is that the naval aircraft all have that everywhere. And to be honest, when you get to watch, I think I say it on today's vlog as well, that's why I like, people always say about grey, and I know I'm repeating myself if you just watch the vlog, but everyone tends to say grey's boring and you can't do anything with grey. To me, it's one of the most exciting colours because you can play with it, the difference in tone. Like Steve's done there with his Tornado. You'll look at it, it's not just, you know, desert pink over it. It's not, because it's got everything right the way over it. And it's all those different tones and effects and the streaking and the grime and everything else that gives you a great looking model at the end of the day. And then you're back down to scale effects and everything else like that. And, you know, Steve mastered that one quite nicely on that particular project. Looks great.
Well, it's like the old... I prefer looking at the grey Apache helicopters, the green ones, and like the A10, I prefer them with grey.
Yeah.
Because they do, once they start getting grime and dirt on it, they look amazing. You know, and some aircraft, like your Greek aircraft.
Oh, yeah, those, yeah, they've really
got
good
Italian ones, they look, you know, they're absolutely battered.
Yeah.
You know, hundreds of tones of greys and even browns are getting in there, and they do look amazing.
Yeah, the thing I love about the Italian ones, if you go and have a look on the YouTube channel, down in the weather and references, I took a load of shots from Riyadh about 5 years ago now, and it was the Italian Tornado, and I love the way they just, it's almost like, it's a bit dirty, so we'll spray over it, because it looks like they've done touch-ups with just literally an aerosol can. And it's so patchy and mottly and it looks filthy, but it looks like they've sort of half cleaned it up a bit, but it's got great weathering on it, and from a modeller's point of view to do it, it'd be incredibly difficult because it's just so complex, because there's so many different shades and tones and the variations in it. To try and recreate it would be an absolute nightmare, but it would look stunning if you had the time and you got the sort of the talent to get in there and to do that, especially in the 1/32 scale. It would look amazing. It would look a stunning aircraft. So there you go, Steve, you can do that one.
Cool.
I'll send you the kit and the reference photos. Okay, Stephen Wainwright says, "Hi Phil, I missed the Saturday show. I remember you getting the Meng T90. Is that in my stash down here, or is it upstairs? Can't see it. Must be upstairs. I have got it. Can you see yourself building it? And if you are going to get around to trying out the scrapers I sent you?" I have. They're over there. Keep up the top class work and shows, Steve. I haven't got any plans for doing any armour like that at the moment. The next one I was talking to Steve before we come on air is for the British Armour SIG. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Great British Armour
Great
SIG,
British Armour SIG,
like,
which starts July, is it?
I think it's 29th of June.
Oh,
End
June.
of June.
End of June, right. So I'm going to be doing, that one will be my next armour piece. And then after that, I must admit, I haven't decided on what we're going to go with. So it could be, I might have a go at that. Obviously, I'll stick a thing up, see what you guys would like to see, and then I will certainly get on and do that build. As for your scrapers, on Thursday, because obviously this week's a little bit all over the place, I'm going to do a sort of tool kit review day. So I'm going to do your scrapers then, and I will go through them and all the rest of it. And if it's all right with you as well, I'll send Steve some, because I've got enough there to last me like a zillion lifetimes, and Steve can have a fiddle with them as well. Okay, so Shamia says, "Hello guys, a question for Steve. You're up." Okay, on Tuesday's Q&A show on the 17th of May, you talked about MiG oil paints, the 502s. You said that it tells you where it's for. Is it because of the name of the paint is given, or does it say on the tube what it's for? I'm planning on giving oils a try, but finding it hard to know what colour. What colours would you recommend? I only do World War II stuff and mainly planes, but in the future a tank or two.
Right. Well, I've got a big collection.
Steady.
I'll get a few out. So, like for example, this one is, I don't know how well it picks it up, is cream for German yellow.
Oh right, yeah.
So obviously that's good for lightning. Your German yellow, especially around the nose. But that would also, because of the lightness of the colour, would be good for, like I did on the Tornado. Just put a bit on there for fading panels, brown panels, or on any kind of sand aircraft. Even could also use it for doing kind of sand effects, dust effects on your model.
Yeah.
Um, what else have we got? You've got your standard black.
Mhm.
Obviously, that's a light rust brown, so you can start that for painting your rust effects, doing streaking.
Mhm.
Um, Obviously, that's a flesh tone for when you go into figure painting. But again, you can use that for lightning panels, whether it be green, browns.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of uses for it. And but yeah, a lot of it does like that's a dark mud.
Mhm.
So if you want to get that kind of grounding grime and dirt into your paintwork, that's what I'd use.
Right.
It's sort of stuff like that I'd use for the streaking on the tornado on the
Mhm.
top of the wings. Um, you get field grey colours. You get all sorts, but it does usually say what they're supposed to be. Like
So
that's
if you had to
general.
pick, say, half a dozen to start with, what would you go for?
Right, my favourite, I'd go for like the basic earth,
Mhm.
a buff colour, couple of rust colours, um, dark mud, and then I'd also look at getting from your normal oil paint, um, both raw umber, burnt umber, and white, and I think you're okay there.
Right. Because I think that it for me, I must admit, I went slightly different routes because I just went out and bought a handful of normal oils, and somebody actually asked me the other day because I've used it on the I can't remember which one it was now, the Sherman build. So if you don't want to go down the route of using those and you want just to pick up a handful of colours that are quite handy, then obviously a black, a burnt sienna because it's sort of that light mud colour, and everything else like that, and a burnt umber. I think, and these ones are what they call graduate oils by De Laroni. They're literally pick them up anywhere, quite cheap. Unusual thing, you can blend and mix and everything else with them, but you're just looking for those greys and earthy colours if you can't find those, because those MIG ones, are they quite hard to find at the moment?
I honestly don't know. I've had
Because I
them quite a
know,
while, a lot of them.
yeah, as you say, the thing is with it, like Steve's probably will testify, he's had them probably years, because
Yeah,
it's one of those things you have and they'll never go off, and they just, it's one of those things you buy once and you'll have for the rest of your life, as you
I
use
think,
so little of it.
yeah, companies, I think, MIG and AK are bringing out oil paints. And
Hmm.
again, it tells you what they've done. They've taken your standard colour, but they've put on there. So instead of calling it raw umber, they'll call it dark rust or and so on, or develop their own colours. And it just says what is on the label. So if it's a dark mud, yeah, that's the sort of colours you want for putting your grime on, and then
Hmm.
your rust colours. But you can also, if you're doing World War II aircraft, if they're green, look at getting some blue because you add a little touch of blue and that gives you nice shadows. Bit of yellow that'll just fade and break up the overall green tone. So, but like really, you want a basic set like Phil's got that you can pick up for a tenner with your basic colours in, and then just buy it. If you're doing a World War II tank or World War II aircraft, look at it and think, right, if that's grey, what do I need? Well, I want maybe a buff colour to lighten the panels and maybe a bit of black to darken it. But I want to introduce then a speck of blue, so you get that bluey grey tinge to it, and go down that route. So
Definitely. But as I say, I think, like I'm not a huge oil user, but it's definitely one of those things. You put in a little bit of time and you sort of develop skills and you learn how to use it. And to be honest, I picked up all mine from Steve because, as I say, until 2 years ago, I never really used anything. But as I say, like now, it's like, Steve says to me, oh, make sure you do this or just have a go with that and all the rest of it, and it just works really well. And as I say, the biggest tip Steve did with me is what he's going to show you now is about the cardboard trick, probably.
yeah, well, that's what I've got left over. They're the colours I used on
Hmm.
Tornado, so you can see there's kind of a basic flesh colour and
Yeah.
various buffs and dark browns.
Very good.
And
Yeah.
like you can see how much, if if you put your oil pin on cardboard, you see how the oil comes out.
Which is leaching out of it, which is great, because what that'll do is it dries quicker on your model then.
And dries matte as well.
And dries to a complete matte dry finish, which is lovely.
But there's a touch of a little speck of white on there, but it's mainly different browns, and then there's a slightly richer brown on there just to give it.
Yeah,
So,
got it.
But that's all you need, just various colours, so it's complementary colours to the whatever you're building.
Yeah, you're not going to do a complete opposite. Like, you know, if you're doing black, you're not going to come in with white or grey. You know, you want to come in with colours which are going to work alongside the one that's down there, because again, you're trying to make transitions in your paint to break things up, to make them look smooth and nice and everything else. There's no like hard edges in it and everything else like that. There we go. Right, okay, so next up we've got Mark. Mark says, hi guys, new to the forum, watching YouTube for a few years from afar. Now my daughter is nearly 2. I've got a lot more time to do modelling and use the forum. I thought it was time and I jumped on board. No questions today, I'm just saying hi. I've posted my most recent builds in the air gallery and we'll post up more as they come along. Cheers and keep up the great work, Mark. Well, welcome Mark, great to have you here. I know I spoke to you earlier, but it's nice to have you here on the live shows and the various bits and pieces like that as well. Okay, another Mark. We've got hi both, this is Mark Roberts. 2.5 questions for you. I'm planning my first 1/32 build, a Tamiya F16, and I was hoping to put some remove before flight tags on it. I think I remember you recommended the 1/48 ones, as the 1/32 seem too big. Okay, so the second part to this is there a guide on where they go? And 2, thinning model air, will X20A work? Well, as for 2, yes, you can thin model air with X20A or with Vallejo's airbrush cleaner or with their thinner as well, and anything else. It works pretty much with anything. As for that, yeah, I do find that the 1/32 remove before flight tags do seem too big. I had it the other day. Hold on that thought. Steve will keep you going a sec. Right, over here I have.
I can still hear Phil. Oh, you can't hear me, can you?
That's the A10.
But yeah, if you remove before flight tags, there's a few companies now.
If you obviously, you know, the best way to do it is go around Google and have a look. What have you been saying?
I was just about to tell them now that there's a few companies. I think Aries are one that have brought out the fabric remove before flight tags that you should look at getting.
Yeah,
which are a heck of a lot better than the photo etch ones, and also you. Like there, you get all the covers for all the various seeker heads and aerials and that. They transform the look of your model.
I think we mentioned it on a live show, and I have got some here because when we had the shop, we used to sell them, and I've got the offcuts in here, or the leftovers, I should say, in here. If I can find them, I can tell you the company name. We make they're like decals. And I know I saw them in here because we were. I put them on the show.
I think mine are Aries. I've got some fabric ones, and I'm sure they're by Aries.
Yeah.
They look really, really nice.
I've got a pack of each in here somewhere. I'm sure I have. Let me start at the beginning because it could be there, you know. You know it'd be the last place, but they are in here somewhere because I saw them in here the other day. Here they are, right. Look, we have a few left over. Oh god, I've made a huge mess underneath there because everything's falling everywhere. Let me just get that out of the way. So, Astra do them as well. Oh, hello dog. Is it getting near that time? You're early. Right, so these are the Astra ones. Hello Lollop. Hold on, let me just go main screen. Not now though, you're too early for your dinner. These are these ones. What have we got? That's 1/72nd, that's 1/32nd, that's 1/48th, that's 1/32nd. You can see, hopefully you can see down here, these are the 32nd ones down here, and these are the 72nds at the top. I tend to find that the 48th ones seem to be more in scale than the big ones are, although if I'm honest, these look a little bit better than the other ones. But these are actually on decal, so what it is, you fold it in half, and then you can do it just like this and have material ones like that. But the great thing with these as well, they've got the REF ones as well, which have, it comes over, there we go, which have that silver impregnated onto them as well. You can see them down here on the various things, catch them, which are quite nice as well. But these are from Astra. I don't know if they're still doing it. I think they are. But they're quite nice. I've used them before and had quite a bit of success with them. So, but I haven't seen the fabric ones yet, Steve.
Just wondering where mine are. Yeah, I'm sure Aries do them. In fact, just bear with me, I'll go and see if I can find them.
Oh right, okay. As for sticking them somewhere, your best bet is to have a look around the net. Now I've got just down in here, as we watch Steve potter off, as you can see it, I've got various reference photos of different things like weapons, pylons and stuff like that from a walk around guide, and obviously it shows them where they are. So you can see them down in, where's the close-up cam? It shows how they fit into their locking points generally all around the aircraft, so you can actually work your way around the entire thing by looking at the various points. Like we got the one up here underneath the chaff dispenser, obviously a important one, and everything else. But also when they're in maintenance and just when they're sat on the flight line, where they are. But generally, if you have a look around Google or airshow photos as well, when they're just sat there doing nothing, you know, on the ground and stuff like that, like we've got them around the nose, the various different caps. And also, this is, I'll just point this one out while Steve gets himself together. This is why the Tamiya kit is wrong, because it shows it having a mark all the way around the outside of it with the pitot tube, and that's because it's the cover on there and doesn't have it. And this is why, whilst we're here, you can see it here, this is why Tamiya thought it was a panel line on their kits. It's not, it's a dirt ring, where it spends so long with its cover on that dirt builds up around it for the actual, this is the angle attack sensor on the side of the F-16, but they turned that into a panel line because they got it wrong. So if you ever wondered and you want to be a complete rivet counter, make sure you fill that one on the side of the nose, as I say, because for some reason they've done it. A lot of the manufacturers did, but that's what it is. So Steve, what have you got? Anything?
Yeah, the ones by HGW.
Oh right, yeah.
And they come with those fabric ones, and it's hard to see, but there's a tiny little hole.
Yeah.
Where you just feed a little piece of wire through, and then away.
Are they all printed on both sides, or just one is good?
It's only red on the back side.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, really.
But at least they're red, and not white like the others.
Yeah, but the thing is, again, you scrunch them up, soak them in a bit of tea, or stain them a bit, and they look a lot better than, you know, your photo etched ones.
Yes.
Or paper ones, you know, they give you that more realistic effect. So.
Are you going to sit on top of all my stuff now? It's only because you want to be live on air. Everyone can see your nose now.
But again, you see, 1 to 48, they're quite bigger then.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that's what I always think. They always seem to be slightly overscaled. I don't know. When you look at them on aircraft, they never look that big. So, right.
You know, you look at some of. Where's the tornado? You'll compare that to a tornado.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It'd be well over scale.
You know, look at the size of that.
Yeah.
For that, it's.
No, that's it. That's why I mentioned it on that previous one, that I tend to downscale by 1. So if it's 48, I use the 72nd one, and so forth and so on with it. Right, you're a bit early. You're like half an hour early for your dinner. Right. Okay. So. So yeah, hopefully there you go, Mark. That sorts that one out. Okay, Atul says, "Hi guys and fellow Florites. A question about figures. I have trying to find pilot figures for my upcoming 132nd Spitfire, and similar to a ME109 build, which I saw on one of the forums. By one of the forum members' builds. Unfortunately, I can't find it again. Where the pilot figure looks like he's climbing out of the cockpit, can you recommend a manufacturer or where I can find a similar one from? Great show as always. Atul. I can't remember who does them now, but who does the pilot figures who crawl in and out and stand on the wings and stuff?
Can't remember the name of them.
Oh no, I can't remember either. If you're in the forum and you know, please post up on this one. Because I can't think who it is now, but there's a company and they make those types of guys that show them, like, you know, hands-on canopies getting in there, specifically designed for look like they're getting in and out or getting up onto the wing or in the cockpit.
Ultracast, is it, or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, we're rubbish at this. It's a good job because was it like the gun barrels? But then we mentioned that on Facebook, so he's all right.
So is it? Is it Ares have started doing the pilot figures sat in the seat?
Yeah, that's right. Which are the ones we had.
They look really good. I think they've done some.
Yeah, have a look at those ones. But again, if you put in there like Hanant's, their search engine is pretty good these days, and just put in there like pilot figures, chances are it'll come up with those ones as well, because it tends to chuck them all in there like that, and have a look around it. Or if you are the person who did it on the forum, please shout. Okay, so Peter. Hi again. Pretty sure the first question I posted. Pretty sure the first question I posted, I've asked about before. So this is more a personal request. Get one of these and melt something live. Doesn't it let off smoke and stuff and like fumes? I would have thought as we're melting things. You must stop shooting out of my scud. What it is, he's got. If we over to here, it's one of these. I do that and then that, which is one of these halogen cookers. I think Mel would kill me. Not that we've got one of these things. I must admit, perhaps we have to get one.
It would be good fun though, wouldn't it? And I have got quite a lot I could melt away. And
just time lapse it and just go with it. Or just find someone with a blast furnace. Just stick stuff in. So yes, I don't know, we'll have a look into it. We'll have to bring back Destroy My Model, but with everything we do, I just don't have time to do these things anymore. Amazingly, it takes longer to set up and do that, because we have to shift all the cameras to somewhere else and the audio equipment, then all the cameras have to be set because they're outside and various things. Actually, it was like a mammoth thing to try and do that.
Well, there we go, Phil. Why don't we have it at your barbecue? Bring a model to be destroyed.
Bring a model to be destroyed and we'll do it. And the neighbours will be seeing black smoke coming out of the place again.
We'll have to have an elaborate, get a bit of guttering or elaborate chute. We can launch them down into a big flaming pit at the bottom. Like,
there you go. It saves us having to have the chimney going. We can all huddle around that in the evening.
Get some kind of catapult system so you launch them so you get them in there.
Yeah, who can get them closest to the thing that's going to kill it?
Yeah.
Okay, so Rob says, no question from me, but I like to say that I'm enjoying the new format of the video builds. It's going to make it much easier to find the relevant section of the build later on. Thank you so much. No problem, Rob. Hope you like it. As just to say, it worries me. Again, I say this on the vlog, so sorry for repeating, but it's too long because it's like an hour and a half, which is technically 3 normal shows or 3 weeks build over it. So if there is gaps now, that's the reason why, because it's 4 hours editing all of that. Right, okay, so John says, hi guys, I'm reposting this one from last week's as I was too late to get it on the show. I've just watched Phil's Bradley build and I've used the same oils wash method on the current on one of my current builds, which has the sand color base color. I also want to use the same method on another vehicle, but the base color is NATO green. Would you recommend starting with black oil wash, same as the Bradley, or a different color because of the green base color? You also use low odor thinners for the first wash, then enamels for the others. Was there a reason for this? I was working with pigments as well, and that's the thing was, and it's one of those things that I have them all around and it's just what I dip into, but they technically do exactly the same things. As for that, I've never done a green one yet. Steve, what would you recommend?
Again, with green, you want to put like your buff colours, maybe touch of white, touch of yellow on the horizontal surfaces where the sun catches it and it fades a bit, and that'll start to lighten the green paintwork. Then, as I mentioned earlier, put a bit of dark blue in the shadow areas because that'll darken the green a bit.
Yeah.
So that's one good layer to do, and then I'd do that kind of seal all that in, and then seal all that over with clear once you've done the fading, adding shadows. Then you can come in with other oil paints, which are like your raw umbers or your dry muds or your dark muds, and start adding the grime effects to the side and areas where the crew have worked, and then obviously seal that in, and then start hitting it with your pigments afterwards.
Yeah, definitely. As I say, I think, you know, a lot of it is with me, especially when I did the Bradley, and I was trying to get that effect because of the armour on the side. Each one of those bricks is a slightly different colour. It's very rare they're all the same, and that's what I was trying to do, is just break them up, and obviously by getting the streaking onto it and all those different things. And a lot of it is what I would call happy little mistakes, because at some points I'm looking at it thinking, no, it's too strong, it's like, it doesn't look right, it's horrible. But actually you tend to leave it and blend them all in, and it works quite well, and a lot of it comes out, you look back at it and think, I worried far too much about it. I should have literally just pushed through, but I spent so much time thinking that's wrong, should have done that. And in theory, just let it go with it. Just, you know, go through the motions of it and see what you get at the end of it. If you're not happy with them, you can just put enamel thinners over it and just wipe it all off and start again with it. But in some ways, you're just trying to sort of recreate that sort of different changes and tones. And like Steve was saying, using blues, which is something I haven't done on green, but I use blue quite extensively for doing the bottom of the Halifax, which is something I don't normally do. But by putting blue with black, it gives it a real depth of colour. So like Steve was saying, using it for sort of shadowing and stuff like that onto dark greens and things like that, and I can imagine now how it all works, whereas before never would have done it. So yeah, like Steve says though, just, you know, as you say, take your time with it, breaking them up and going through the things. But as for the low odour thinners and the enamel ones, to be honest, it was to hand type of thing with it. He also says, what about Warhammer Games Workshop build? I'd love to see what you can do with an Imperial Knight or a Valkyrie cruiser carrier or assault carrier. Well, I'll look into it. If you want me to do it, I'll give it a whirl. And as I said, I've got something else on the sideline for later on in the year, which is a lot of sci-fi stuff and various things, which I'm hoping will appear on the site as well. If not, it's going to appear on another site. Yeah, all those type of things I'd love to get into, love to have a go at. And as I say, it's all modelling related at the end of the day, and it expands our universe here in Florymodels. So we'll definitely give it a whirl.
I've got to say, some of that Warhammer and Forge World stuff is incredible. Especially the space aircraft and drop ships and stuff like that. That's something I've always had my eye on. There's some brilliant... Yeah, they're kind of like drop ships or attack aircraft, I think you can call them. But yeah, they look really cool.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm just going to put...
You can just go wild on it, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. You know, let me just put shows finished. That way it stops people adding to this. If I could type even. I hate this thing. Oh God, I hate this thing. It does predictive as well, and it's even worse.
Oh, no.
There we go. And see, how do you even post with this thing? I don't even know how you work a lot of this. Oh God, like, it doesn't like the site. There we go, add reply. Has it added reply? Please add a reply. Come on, come on. That's it. Right, okay. That stops everyone adding more questions on because we're done. Yeah, I to be honest, I'd like to give it a go. I intend to get into different genres of the hobby. As I say, we're moving into Gundam. We're going to give that a whirl, and the various bits and pieces like that. So yeah, definitely from that point of view, we'll get in there. I know somebody asked me on a different question thing about did I get various things. I'll be honest with you, and if my lead will let me over here, and I will have a quick look through. I have got some stuff that's come through yesterday, this morning, and at the weekend, and I haven't even had a chance to look at it yet. So so I will do it live on here. Thank you for whoever sends me these things. But we've got two little things from the US. So first of all, this is from Glenn Morrison, and he has sent me bubble wrap. Okay, right, lean back so I don't want to show you a letter. I'm sending you a bottle of Tamiya Orange Top Glue for you to check out. That's a big that's a big box for little glue. Right, for you to check out. I don't know if it's the same as the white top stuff. We can't get that over here. I'd be interested in your thoughts and maybe a comparison in one of your shows. Keep up the good work. I'm looking forward to hosting Flow soon. Glenn Morrison. Thank you, Glenn. That's brilliant of you. Let me get it out. This is the orange top glue. So if I just do, this is this one, guys, which is out. Have you seen this one, Steve?
No, I haven't. No.
No, nor have I. I must admit, this is somewhat. Ooh.
They did bring out a new glue though, haven't they, Tamiya? That's.
Right, hold on. First of all, it gets the sniff test.
That's the best bit.
Yeah, it smells the same. Hold on, I have a sheet of styrene down here. It's a different brush. And we're just... To be honest, the white one is a lot thicker. And when I say a lot thicker, I mean a lot thicker. This one seems to be in. I'm wondering if this is because of the schools and the various things. Although it does say flammable and various things. I'm just seeing if it's eating into my... Yeah. To be honest, it seems to working the same as the white top. And doing everything like that. What I would do is I will have a proper test of it this week. I'll do it as part of the reviews for this week. But thank you for that, Glenn. But off the bat, it's thicker than extra thin, but it does look like it's more of a resin based than a normal one. I don't know if it's a weld action one or not. To be honest, I can't tell.
I might be mistaken, but did Tamiya were bringing out that new quick dry?
Yeah, that was a different colour top though, wasn't it? It looks the same as the other one. Let me just stick two bits of plastic together, which... Because what I want to know is this a weld action type, as in a hot weld action, or if it is more like the resin based ones? Because the white top is technically a resin based glue. It doesn't have any weld capabilities when you actually glue it together. It's got a great bite, I'll give it that, because it's gone those together really nicely. But what I want to know is if it's actually just gluing together, so to speak, or it's actually a hot action, weld action glue such as the extra thin. So what I'll do is, I'll come back to that in a minute before we leave you. Okay, and I'll see how that one actually is. Excuse all the stuff around here, because I was just about to start on the engine bit this afternoon, but run out of time. Okay, so what else have we got? This one is from John Wojtek. Get in here. And I've got no clue on his, because sometimes it says what it is, but this one just says Tall Toy. Oh, God. Okay. So, no letter. See, it's like Christmas. Okay. I think there's a little letter in here. Beautifully packaged. Ooh. Oh, I know what this is. This isn't actually a toy. Yeah, Steve, it's here! There we go. This is like a live unboxing. Me and Steve, when we were talking after we left you, these are the riveting tools.
Cool. It'll come in handy for the helicopter.
Yeah, so I... Good, you don't even get an invoice or anything, because I can't remember how much we paid for them now. We've got a little guide here. Well, if I put you on full screen so you guys can see it. Where are we? Full screen. There we go. So this is what we're talking about. Let me check that out of the way. These are riveting wheels, which obviously are very, very small compared to the other ones we've been using. Okay, and it's got it written down on it because I was talking to Steve because Steve's got some similar to it as well. And I was on about I didn't know what size to go with. So we've got the 0.55, which is 1/72, 1/48. These are genuine rosy riveter ones. And as I say, they weren't cheap because I bought them and it was like $50, and then I got an email from them saying, oh, you didn't pay for international shipping because there's not an option. So that was another $25, whatever it was. So they're not cheap at all, but these are 0.65, so that's 1/48 scale. Okay, and we've got down here is 1/48 and 1/32, which is there every 0.35. Okay, but I have to say they look lethal. I hope they last because they're very expensive if they don't. But yeah, I don't know about the handle design. I must admit, I'm a little bit.
It works a treat though, because if you just get yourself.
Are your handles like this?
Yeah.
I thought they'd be round. Oh right.
Yeah, if you just get yourself a little bit of styrene and they're effortless, just roll up and you keep a beautiful line if you push it. Right. I'm quite surprised how good they are.
Just had a bit of styrene. Here we go. Okay, so.
I think it's because the wheel's small and you hardly put any pressure on.
Yeah, you're right. It's not going to show on camera, I know, guys, but that is absolutely lovely. It is zipping along there like a treat. I think you're right. This is what I was hoping, is that because the wheel is small, that it would give you more control. Because when it's big, you can't see even where you're going. But that is really, really very nice. And it's sharp as hell. It's giving good punctual ones. No problem with that. Do like those. So anyway, obviously there'll be a full review on that with everything else this week. So it'll be tool time on Tuesday.
It's worth mentioning, I picked mine up at Telford in the, I forget which hall it is, but there's a hall dedicated to the overseas sellers and traders, and they were in the far corner. They were selling all the special hobby stuff and classic airframes kits, and they just had them by where you paid, a big box of all the different sizes, and they were doing a bit of a deal on them. So I managed to pick quite a few different sizes up, and now if they're there this year and selling them off, at a good price, I'll probably pick up the remaining ones. Yeah,
I probably will do as well and get myself some spares, because I think they do seem very nice, and because it's a smaller wheel, it's a lot more detailed. But we got down here, so if I just show you the little card and say I'll do a full review for you. But as you say, they do a double one, so it's offset every side, and then a triple, so you've got twin, single wheel system as well. So we've got the single one over here, but also they do a double and a triple if you wanted to go the full thing. But I got mine from UMM in the USA, which I must say is good service, because I ordered it. It would have been after our live show a fortnight ago, and then they didn't get back to me until I think it was like Monday or Tuesday, because they'd been at a show, and they said, "Oh, I'm sorry, you didn't put in for postage for international orders."
It would have been
so we
last
need to.
Tuesday we talked about them.
So yeah, so really they've taken a week.
Yeah.
So just over a week, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's very good service by them. I'm impressed by that. They zipped up here in no time. So I don't know if they came in Saturday or today, one or the other. But yeah, no, good service. So thank you to those. But as I say, I'll do the full review on that this week with the other bits and the glue. Let's have a quick look at the glue, see what it's doing. See, we're onto styrene here. So I can't tell. I think it is weld action. Seems to be. It's got a hell of a bite on it, pulling that apart. But say I'll do a proper review for that this week as well, so we can catch up with that one.
You do know next week when it's the evening live show. As soon as Adam and John arrive, first thing they'll do is go over and sniff it.
Oh yeah, of course they will.
As soon as they walk in the studio, they'll go straight to it.
That's what they do here. They come in.
To be
and
honest,
just
I'll be
sniff
doing
everything.
that as well when I come down.
Everyone goes along here and it gets passed around the table. You know. Oh, good stuff. Right, that's about it from us then for today. Thank you for joining me. The dog's done a bunk. I think it's given up. Well, she was in here a minute ago. I think she's thinking it's dinner time. She's a bit early. But yes, so thank you for joining us live. If you're watching us live, how many of you are watching us live? 135. Crikey, why aren't you all at work? Speaking of which, it's coming back. Here comes the dog. Somebody asked me, one of the members said, about your puppy. I love your puppy. You going to say hello? Come and say hello. Yeah, Puppy's no longer a puppy anymore. Puppy's like a giant monster. Yes, aren't you, creepo? So anyway, we will catch you on Saturday. Me and Steve will be live from 9 in the morning until whenever we finish. So it's supposed to be a couple of hours, but as I say, we did 3.5 hours last time. And we'll be joining you for that one. Next Tuesday, there's no Q&A with me and Steve, but there will be, obviously, the live show with everybody here. Well, I hope there will be. Adam's definitely here because he already asked. But hopefully we'll get the rest of the guys in as well, so you can join us for that one, and Steve will be here for that as well. So go off, watch the vlog, see all the bits and pieces. I've got loads of editing to do. Tomorrow you'll have up will be the Osprey. We've got the next part of that one going up, and then obviously Thursday we're going to do tool reviews. On Friday I've got a kit for you, and then obviously back to Monday. By then hopefully we'll have the entire of the engine done as well, so the engine part will be up for the actual FW190. So there we go, and Steve will be finished his Tornado by then.
Probably not, but
but it'll still look good. It'll be coming along very nicely.
yeah. It'll be a bit, because obviously I'm waiting for all the weapons, so I'll get the correct bombs on there. So
definitely. Righto. Well, thank you very much for joining us, everybody. We will see you obviously on Saturday, and I'll catch you during the week. So until later, everybody, happy modelling and take care. And bye.
bye. Oh, that's clever. Oh, that's well cool.